Hello, everyone. It's a great privilege to be here with Pat Gelsinger, CEO of VMware. It's been a big week for you, obviously. Lots of announcements,
Yes.
especially one, I think.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the impact of the big announcement, EMC Dell, but also the other announcement for our customers?
Sure, and obviously a huge announcement, and as we said, a historic announcement, the largest ever deal in the IT industry. So, and really, I believe portends to many other major consolidation, acquisition, restructuring deals. As we said, this is a tectonic period of the IT industry, and obviously having from the VMware perspective proper, right, EMC plus Dell sort of doubles the horsepower behind us, and as a company, they will be highly incentive to drive our growth. And as we communicated to the marketplace, maybe in excess of $1 billion worth of revenue synergies that result to accelerate us in the marketplace. So having that big structure behind us and helping to propel us forward, we see that as good for customers and pretty much across our product line in the SDDC space and the cloud space, end users. We see all of those being benefited by this major announcement. We also see that the private structure is good for EMC. Right, allows them to do some of this fundamental restructuring and synergizing with Dell. And a private-public structure will allow us increased agility, decision-making, and speed of movement. And clearly, as we've talked about, the fast, right, is more important than the big as we go forward. So we need to also have agility and not just size behind us.
Agreed. You mentioned the independence of VMware. That is obviously for our partner ecosystem. What's your take on that? Is this good for our partners? How will they react?
Yeah, and when EMC acquired VMware, Joe personally reached out to all of the major ecosystem players, and he says, "Yep, I'm going to steadfastly defend the independence of VMware." And now we're trading a E for a D. And Michael, having grown up in the open systems era, he gets it, right? And he has that same steadfast commitment to the ecosystem partners. And in many ways, having grown up in it, I think if anything, his intuitions are even more deeply ingrained. And I spent a lot of time talking about this exact question with Michael before the deal. So over the last couple of months, we've sort of had like one continuous interview, right? And this is one of the pieces that we've really gotten quite comfortable with, his commitment and how we'll work forward in that way. And I'm personally reaching out to our key ecosystem partners. I talked to Meg at HP before I got on the plane on my way over here, and touching base with many of the others and really reinforcing that.
Yeah, perfect. So partners, always important for VMware. We also did a number of announcements for our own products. What stands out for you in terms of the announcements this week?
Well, obviously, we've really gotten in this cadence of major management announcements as part of VMworld Europe. And to do that again, we announced the next major versions of vRealize Automation, vRealize Business, and good response from the marketplace. These are good products, and we're quite excited about them and both their feature and capabilities, blueprinting, automation, heterogeneous cloud support, and many pieces of integration, just making the full SDDC that much better and more realizable for customers. So a lot of good things there.
Yeah, you mentioned the openness also in Michael Dell. I think VMware was very open on stage. I saw Amazon Web Services, KVM, Zen, all of our competition, which we actually support.
Yeah, Microsoft as well. So yeah, so it's like, this is a new day for VMware. And clearly that aspect of, that broadening openness. And people are using Amazon. Well, what's our value proposition for those customers? And how can we manage, how we can network to it? How can we do workload introspection in those environments? Yes, that's important.
Yeah, I think it shows the openness of VMware, which is important for all of our customers. You were also very open on stage with a lot of lessons I think you learned from customers with the 5 imperatives for digital business. You've spoken about that at VMworld US about 5 weeks ago. What has been the response in speaking to customers afterwards?
It's been, it's very different keynote for me, right? In that sense, in fact, I was just with a Gartner analyst, and they said, "Well, that was a very Gartner-esque keynote." And I asked him, "Is that a compliment or an insult?" Right? And we sort of had a nice little laugh about that. But being able to take sort of a broader view of the implications of what we're doing, with respect to business and asymmetry, the big versus small, and what that threats and opportunity are in a mobile cloud world. Some of the security aspects, and as we described it, the renaissance in security, and this idea of taking risk equals the lowest risk, right? And how the rapidity of change for businesses today. So different ones of those have really resonated with different customers in a big way. And I'll say collectively overall, it's brought a very good response overall from customers. And we've had a lot of fun dialogue about what that might mean to them and their roles, particularly to CIOs, and they needing to become really the agents of change into their business.
Absolutely. I think our customers learn a lot, but we are obviously also here to learn. What is something that you learn from a VMworld like this?
Well, as we, as I'm running around like with my hair on fire, it seems, right, obviously with the big announcements this week, but obviously the ecosystem is alive and well. Right, and when you show up at a VMworld, you're gonna, it's like, what are they doing here? And it's like, oh wow, and some of the different announcements, like, when I was at VMworld US. Right, this to me just blew me away. I was in the IBM booth, and they announced that they had done plugins for Z and P series into the vRealize environment. Wow, I mean, to me that was sort of like, I didn't expect that, but again, it shows the power of this ecosystem, and that's something every time I show up at one of these things, it's sort of like, wow, what are you doing here? And it's like, oh, we announced this today. It's really, right? And as those things start to emerge, and we're so committed to that aspect of the show. It's also so good to see customers, and like I had ING on stage, right, in the keynote. It's like, what a powerful story. Right, and they, I talk about the museum of IT past. I mean, they had everything. And now they're moving to a unified hybrid cloud environment for us on the public and the private side of that, really transforming their operations in a fundamental way. And those things are just thrilling when you hear customers talk about that. And, obviously meeting with press and analysts as well, and particularly the European press, they're always just a little bit, on the edge around it. And I have a lot of fun with that as well, and sort of, giving a little bit back to them, but good little jousting intellectual, because it is such a interesting time, disruptive time, that we're all learning and helping each other through such a fundamental shift in the structure of the industry.
Perfect. So the fundamental shift has happened. You've obviously worked very hard towards this fundamental shift. What are you up to after VMworld?
Well, it's been quite the week getting here, right? I started in Portland with my family on Saturday. Sunday, went to Boston, right? Monday, flew to Palo Alto. We had our big company all hands, flew over here. Now I'm in Barcelona. From here, I go to Amsterdam for the research board, visiting our site in Bulgaria on Friday, and then back to the U.S. and have dinner with Michael Dell and my wife on Sunday. So
hopefully you get to spend a lot more time with your family now that the hard work, I think, is over in terms of this announcement. Thank you very, very much. I wish you a wonderful show and good trips after this, of course. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you.